What's up, everybody? It's John Morgan. Listen, I want to just say thank y'all to everybody who has been supporting this podcast. I cannot grow this without the support of the community who allows me to grow. So thank y'all to everybody who's been supporting, everybody who's been sharing it, everybody who is a subscriber on YouTube, everybody who has purchased merch from me, everybody who just tells somebody, you know, through telling somebody in conversation, who shared these podcasts in your group text. Thank y'all. I cannot do this without you guys, so thank you for that. Right now, we want to ask for a specific type of support right now. If you can, stop what you're doing. Yes, you right now. Stop what you're doing. Stop what you're doing right now. Go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. Become a subscriber to this page, the Live Your Purpose Podcast YouTube channel. Become a subscriber. Like, share, tell somebody about it. But stop what you're doing right now. Go to your YouTube page and become a subscriber. Click it. Click subscribe on the YouTube page and become a subscriber of this page. It allows us to grow, and it allows us to touch different reach for different people. So please, if you call yourself a supporter, if you want to continue to see us grow and continue to see us build, stop what you're doing right now. Go to YouTube. Click that subscribe button. Like, thumbs up, all of that. Please, right now, Live Your Purpose Podcast. Peace. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Live Your Purpose Podcast. I'm your host, John Morgan Jr. Second pod of the day. We're feeling good on a Tuesday, of course. Before we get into who our wonderful guest is for today, allow me to just say thank you to all the support that we've been receiving. Everybody who's been supporting the merch, thank you. If you could right now, go to the YouTube channel, Live Your Purpose Podcast YouTube channel, become a subscriber, like and share, tell a friend to tell a friend. Again, man, thank you to all the support we've been getting, a lot of genuine support. And that's like one of the coolest things about this so far is that the support that we've been receiving has been genuine. It's been a lot of love, and I appreciate that. I don't take none of that for granted. So everybody who's been supporting, shout out to y'all. Much love to y'all. For those, if this is your first time here on LYP, our reasoning for doing this is to be able to highlight Black entrepreneurs specifically. We want to be able to highlight their backstories. We really want to be able to pick their brain and really understand why they chose a walk of entrepreneurship, because in my own personal experience of finding entrepreneurship and the benefits of it later on in life, I believe that, it's one of those things that it allows us to really be able to, be our true authentic selves, which is investing in ourselves, investing our time, investing our resources, investing our energy into things and building something, creating something. Those are the things that I value. So one of the ways that I'm able to do that is by having wonderful conversations with like-minded individuals and other Black creators and Black entrepreneurs. So without further ado, the next guest who we have with us today is a artist, a creator, a creative, a wonderful spirit. I've only known her for a very short time, but every interaction I have with her, good vibes, good energy. Miss Derin Fletcher, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you doing this.
Anytime.
So, genuinely, how are you today? How are you feeling? It's Tuesday. We about to roll into a new month, the end of the week. How are you? How are you feeling?
For one, September don't even feel like it happened.
Right.
But I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, listen, so again, man, I really want to kind of get into your backstory a little bit. I want to talk about what you're doing, over here at the in your space. But before we begin to that, let's get into Derin. Born and raised here in this city right here, Akron, Ohio. When you reflect back on like your earliest times here in the city, what comes to mind for you? What's like some of the things that really pop into mind first when you think about like them earliest memories, them childhood memories growing up here in the city?
Some good ones. Just free. I feel like we had so much more back then. We had so much more going on. Just thinking about certain parts of the city we got to experience, rolling acres.
Oh my goodness.
Just
Rest
remember how Arlington was.
Yeah.
Arlington used to be lit, parades, just different things going on. It was just a different vibe. It was a different vibe. Like you were saying before, like, you know, a time before the internet.
Yeah,
like
oh
the
my
things
goodness.
the things we used to do.
Man, y'all don't know nothing about Rolling Acres, man. Rolling Acres,
Rolling
man.
Acres was that what that mall?
I seen a special on Viceland like a few years ago where they did like this whole thing on like, it was based here in Ohio, in Northeast Ohio, like all these malls that had
dead
like
malls.
Yeah,
I watched that.
Man, it was crazy. It brought back so many memories though, man.
It's like, dang, they had the arcade in there, the movie theater, like
before its time, man. Before its time. Yeah, Rolling Acres was one of a kind. Rest in peace to Rolling Acres, man.
Yeah, R.I.P. It just was a different time. To me, it was just a more simpler time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was still craziness going on, but I feel like we had so much going around us. I feel like it's a lot of things that's closed now in Akron, and you know, that we're trying to rebuild, and you know, that's where we come in handy, you know, and where we step in to where we bringing things back. Yeah. Trying to bring things back around. Yeah,
for sure. I love the word that you associated with your childhood, which was free.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's so, you know, that can't be looked over. I mean, I think a lot of that is just childhood innocence. You know what I'm saying? You really don't know what you don't know.
For sure.
We don't have no responsibilities. You know what I'm saying? Adulting is very much overrated. But still, you know, there's a lot of beauty in, you know, reflecting on your childhood and associate that with being freedom. You know what I'm saying? That's
for sure.
That's super powerful.
Yeah.
Man, we coming off this crazy year in 2020, you know, still in the midst of the pandemic. But like, I know for me, you know, 2020 was a year of reflection, a year of growth, a year of challenges. And I learned
2020 vision.
Bingo, yes. Right. I learned a hell of a lot about myself though. What'd you learn about yourself in 2020 mentally, spiritually? Just about Derin, what'd you learn about you?
I learned that I had to release. There was a lot that I had
to. Say more.
There was a lot that I had to release. I feel like 2019 and 2020, I was holding myself back from a lot. Just mentally, and things that I've dealt with, and traumas and things that I had to let go in order for me to be able to strive in the way that I wanted to, or me being able to unpack a lot of things that I knew you on a different journey, that you can't take that stuff with you. It's too heavy. Had to let it go. So that was my biggest thing, 2020, and still striving, because life happens. So healing is a continuous thing, and continuing to grow. That's just the journey I've been on, and it's been wonderful. It's helped me just individually. It's helped me as an artist. It's helped me as an entrepreneur. So that's just something I gotta continue to do. But 2020 definitely jump started that for me. How'd
you get to the point where you knew that you had to release? Like, what was your process leading up to it? Like, okay, you know, I have to do some work. You know what I'm saying? In order to get here. What was your process, and what did your work look like in that release?
I realized that I wasn't working. I realized I wasn't creating. I wasn't able to fully live my purpose. I wasn't able to really fully move forward. And I'm like, okay, something is blocking me. Something's blocking me. I know we have this term, like in the art world, art block. You know how as creators, we like sometimes we're like, okay, we got artist block. And I knew mine was beyond that, because I'm like a little artist block. I'm like, I do a couple sketches or play around with something, I can get over that. But once it wasn't working, I'm like, yeah, this is something deeper that I have to deal with, and be able to do that for myself. I have to make sure it's like, okay, I love myself that much to be able to put that work in. It's just as I would somebody else I love, for them to put that work in too. So I knew once it got to the point where, you know, I love art. I'm an artist. I create. If I can, I'll draw every day. But once I got to the point where I'm like, you're not even drawing. You're not creating nothing. You got to do something. And I was like, yep, got to get started. Right.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds. I had my last guest that I had on here. One of the last guests I had on here, he was just talking about when he really came into like a real bad spot. He was a basketball player for his, you know, majority of his life, and he played in the NBA for a little bit and overseas for a little bit of time. And he was just talking about, you know, when he really felt in them hard times, he had to like go within, because those are where the answers lie at.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? We can't look outside of ourselves for the answers that really lie, you know, within.
Exactly.
So like when you look at you know, doing your work of releasing, you know, getting back to being intentional about your creating, you know, today, like, do you see how it's translated into like how you being able to live today?
Oh yeah, for sure. I feel like if I didn't do that, I would not have taken that leap to even get in this place. I would not. It's a lot of things I would not have done if I haven't done that. I probably would have still just been dreaming about it, or just envisioning like, okay, I want a gallery, but not doing the things that I have to do, or not believing in myself, or thinking that it was something that I can even grasp, or just seeing it as something that's tangible, like this. Okay, this is something I can do, instead of just being in my head about it. If I didn't do that work, I'd still just be just dreaming.
Why is it so hard for us as creatives to really be able to grasp the idea of releasing?
That's a good question. That's definitely a good question. I feel like we're just now getting to the point where creatives are getting the support and the accolades and the acknowledgement, or like somebody really be like, okay, yeah, that's a real job. Like, because I still would get people because 2020 is when I went full time as an artist, and I would still get people like, well, what's your job? Like, what you do? Right. Like, well, do you have a real job?
Right.
And it's
right.
This is a real. I create 24/7.
Right.
This is a real job.
Right.
I put more work into my business than I would a 9 to 5.
Absolutely.
It's not 9 to 5 for me. It's literally 24/7.
Right.
My mind is constantly going, or certain, and then they don't realize too. It's a lot of times it's a one-man show. It's like you doing a lot of emails. Like, you know how it is. You contacting people, you know, and just to have certain people that back you on certain things, or being able to edit, or, you know, that's love. Because a lot of that stuff, especially like starting out, you doing that yourself. You your own crew, your own everything. So I think now, especially like with social media, we're starting to see more people support entrepreneurship or creatives moving forward in a more untraditional way that people are normally used to. Yeah.
When I think about releasing, for me personally, it automatically connects and correlates to what I've learned is radical acceptance. You know what I'm saying? Which is like accepting everything as is. You know what I'm saying? Not trying to make something different than what it is. You know what I'm saying?
I have a hard time with that, so I need to work on that.
Trust and believe. Listen, I feel you 100%. I am still very much learning. It's one of the things that my therapist told me early on, like in going to therapy. Is like, I remember it's like one of like my first 3 sessions. I was talking about something, and she was like, "Do you know what radical acceptance? What the hell is that?" And she gave me like this brochure about like what it was, and like broke it down. And I kept finding myself in like every season of like getting back to some like, you know, wanting to have control. And what I'm learning is that for me, the fear of releasing control for me is so much associated with just like being afraid. You know what I'm saying? Being afraid of the outcome I don't know what is.
Fear of the unknown.
When in reality, a lot of this shit is unknown. The majority of this is unknown. You know what I'm saying?
Like we don't know nothing. We really don't.
No, we don't have any say so over what is about to happen in an hour from now.
No.
You know what I'm saying? All the planning and all the, you know, manifesting and foreseeing we may think we had, you know, which is why, you know, it's been important for me to like really dive into the present. You know what I'm saying? So I completely understand what you say, you know, talking about releasing. You know what I'm saying? And it's a work in progress for sure. It is,
and it's gonna be a constant thing. It's just I feel like as I grow, I just get better at it, and that's definitely helped me a whole lot.
Who were some of your earliest influences of creators or just entrepreneurs? Like when you reflect back on, you know, maybe when you was younger, somebody that you may have seen creating and doing things early on. You may necessarily didn't know that's what it was, but looking back on it today, you seem like, oh no, that was somebody that I was influenced by early on.
My grandmother for sure. She's always been just really into entrepreneurship and having her own business, me being able to see that, and also just how she touched other people with what she's a social worker. Okay. So with things
Shout
that she had
did,
and she lives in Tokyo now.
Okay.
So it's
that's hard. Okay.
Oh yeah, she does social work over there.
Really?
So that's been my biggest influence for sure.
Okay.
She's raised me. She's just being able to see her and how she maneuvers, even still now. I mean, she's still doing her own thing and decided to become an event planner while in Tokyo. Wow. And she's still
okay, great. Yeah. Okay, all right.
Yeah, she was the biggest person to help me get this space and really pushed me like, no, get it, you know, because I was on the fence when I first saw it, like, I don't know, like I was nervous, and she's like, nope, you know, get it. So she's definitely been my biggest influence and always pushing me as far as getting me clay and just knowing that I was artistic just from young.
Yeah.
Just getting me all types of things just to kind of feed that.
Yeah.
And that's, so she's definitely my biggest.
What you learned the most from her?
Let's see. Empathy.
That's my word. That's my word there. Yeah. Say more. What about empathy?
Just she's one of the kindest people that I know. And she's so empathetic with everyone. No matter the situation, she's always calm, you would never see her out of character. You would never see her talk down on someone or their situation, or she's always like, okay, well, I know this person is probably reacting this way negatively because of this. So that helped me. And a lot of it had, yes, literally. And just from even over the years, she's brought kids home and let it become my bonus aunties and things like that. But she's always taught me that. I mean, she doesn't even curse. I've never heard her curse or anything. Yeah, and that's where I don't cuss at all.
I don't know if she's a social worker.
Yeah. I mean, no, I didn't see her, get a certain way, but and that's why I am the way I am, because I don't curse or anything either.
For real?
Snap.
Okay, all right. Let me stop cussing then.
I mean, I'm surrounded by people who do, but I said, my grandmother, she raised me, and I just looked at her as she's the blueprint for me, and just everything that she provided and still provides, and just my go-to person for everything.
Yeah. Is there ever a time for you where practicing empathy becomes defeating, or where it becomes a little hard for you?
It can become tough. It can be tough depending on the situation and who you're dealing with sometimes. Because it's like, dang, like I was hurt. Well, I do use damn. So.
Okay, I'm about to say, you just said
the major ones, once I turned 27, I adopted that one. So, bet. So I use hell and damn a lot.
Okay.
Those ones don't really count.
Okay, those don't count. That's true.
Anything beyond that, you won't hear from me. But I feel like it can be tough, especially when you're dealing with your own things too.
Absolutely.
When you're dealing with your own things and your own reactions, it's it can definitely be tough to be empathetic towards, especially if things are coming at you a certain way. That can be hard to try to control your reaction and still have empathy in a way where your reaction is altered, especially when you like, okay, then I will react to this in this way, but you know what? Let me, you're projecting something onto me.
That's it.
You're projecting.
That's it.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't even have to say that. Like, we don't, you know what I'm saying? We don't even have to tell anybody, listen, I know you're projecting. It's just more so, let me understand what you don't understand in this moment, and be mindful and make the best decision for both of us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel you 100%. What were your dreams as a kid?
To be an artist. It's always been that. For as long as I can remember, I wanted to be an artist. Yeah. Sadly, with innocence, shifting and getting older and taking on more of what other people had to say as far as, the whole starving artist. And that was a different time. Yeah. It's like, okay, well, maybe you should look into something else, or maybe you should look into something else. So then it's like, all right, well, cool. What do I want to do? Then I'm like, well, maybe I'll go into social work. Because I'm like, I like helping people. So it shifted a lot. But I always knew that I would be an artist.
Really?
I always knew.
Really?
Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. I know for me, man, I literally fell into social work because somebody recommended, like, John, you good with people, you enjoy working with people, just do it. Because I really didn't have any idea what I was going to do, you know, after sports kind of faded away after high school. You know, that was my whole outlook was playing sports coming up. And when that evaporated in high school, as far as like the reality of like, all right, I'm not going to school, you know what I'm saying, to play nowhere D1. And I just knew that the percentages of really being able to make it in sports was over. Man, for me, it was just, you know, trying to figure out to do something, you know what I'm saying, that I could semi-enjoy, that I wouldn't mind doing. But I think how I came into the podcast is that I think at the core of it, I've always, you know, of course, wanted to help people. I've always enjoyed, you know, just having fruitful and healthy conversations with people where I can just tell that, you know, okay, like we building right now, like we sharing a spiritual experience right now in this moment. I think I've always known that and wanted to do something in the media, you know, space, I guess, and whatnot. But it took a while, you know, to get there. So that's like part of the big reason that, you know, that we're here today and doing the pod. So I think that's dope that you always knew that you wanted to be an artist and just
had a couple detours.
Did you?
Yeah, had quite a few detours, but I knew this is what I was supposed to do.
So when the detours happened, how'd you stay on center and just, you know, continue to, you know, stay your course and stay in your lane?
It was a challenge. It was a challenge because it was always about getting back to self and realizing my purpose and being able to notice when I wasn't fulfilling it. So that was the biggest thing. Like, okay, like you off. Your energy is off. It's you off because it's not aligning. You're not on the right path right now. It's time to get back. And just knowing, it's like, you know how you feel when you're really pursuing your purpose, when you're really fulfilling that purpose. You know the feeling that you get when that's what you're doing. And I knew that's what art did for me every time.
So how did it start? How did you initially begin creating? How did you initially begin, you know, just doing art?
I mean, I would draw all the time, but really in like 8th grade with my art classes, that's when a lot of teachers started to see, like, okay, this is really what you're feeling, is what you're getting into, and I was good at it. And so I just kept at it, starting really from, I mean, I've done it all my life, so I've always had, you know, them little things with them little markers and crayons and that don't even work for real. So my grandma always got me those. Okay. So I did a lot of drawing or coloring books. That was always something that I would do, but it wasn't something where I took it real serious. My coloring pages, everything, I took that serious.
Right.
So just knowing early on, like, okay, yeah, this is something that I want to do. And then once teachers kind of picked up on that, then I was being pushed in, okay, more art classes or more art programs, and being signed up for different things. Then once I hit high school, it was like, okay, but I kind of took a break, like art-wise. Like I was always kind of just drawing or doing certain things myself. And once I just dealing with certain traumas and dynamics at home, it kind of threw me off to where I will only draw at certain times. But then once junior year hit, I'm like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. And I got really serious about it. So the whole 11 years later, I haven't stopped.
Did you find yourself really connecting to art as just a form of therapy for yourself?
Oh yeah. It was an escape. It was an escape. But I also had to realize that when I had gotten to a space where I no longer had to escape, and I had to really redirect my purpose for creating. I still can look at it as a form of therapy.
Yeah, for sure.
But also just realizing you're no longer escaping anything. This is that's something that I let go, and now it's me, releasing that, and this is really just my path, and knowing that, okay, like it's no longer an escape. It's no longer something that I'm getting lost in order to mask things or cover up or run away. I released that, but it allowed me to get better in art, or be able to practice different skills and learn different mediums and continue to push forward. I mean, I'm still, like I said, my undergrad degree is in industrial design, with my focus in accessory design and furniture design. And that's still something I'm very interested in. It just wasn't my purpose.
Yeah. So how did you know that you were gifted in art? Like, you know, because it's one thing to be good at something, you know, but you have gifts. You know what I'm saying? How did you know that you were gifted?
I
No, you definitely got gifts. We in your space right now. It's on camera. It's on the video. These is gifts. This is not regular stuff.
I mean, okay. And also as a creative, I am. You know how it gets sometimes. We are our own worst critics.
Well,
so
we got to receive affirmation.
Yes, I receive it. I take it in. I appreciate it. I receive it.
Good.
I honestly, I didn't realize how good I got at it until 2020. I was still just like in my mode because before 2020 I was barely posting my artwork. I wasn't really posting it.
Really? Mm-mm. So was it the pandemic that like how did it happen? Because again, let me take a step back. Again, like I told you, you know, before we even started recording, I got introduced to you in person from your you know, from your event that you had here, and I can't remember exactly who. I think it was Mike. I think it might have been your cousin who posted your stuff first, and that's when I just started to look at your page. And like I seen all your work, and then when I started to pay attention, I'm like, oh, she got like a huge following and shit. Like she's been doing stuff for a little bit of time. But when I went through and started looking at the dates, 2020, I see a lot of stuff in 2020. Yeah. So like, how did it happen that you weren't doing anything or posting anything pre 2020, and in 2020 you just began to flood?
Because it was scattered. Like I would create every day. Okay. I was sketching every day, but I was also not in that form of release to where I'm still holding on to certain things or feeling like I'm not good enough okay, well, I'm not going to post this isn't good enough. This isn't, you know, where I want it to be. And then I was like, you know what? Like once I got through that moment, I'm like, let me start posting my work. Yeah. And I mean, I had no intention, you know, starting off 2020, I had like 3,000 followers. I had no idea that it would take off the way it did or get the love the way it did. I wasn't posting it, you know, for any reason, but this is me. I was sharing myself because I don't post pictures of myself on my page. Yeah. So it's just my artwork. So a lot of people don't even know what I look like. I had a few people who still think I'm a man, but it's the name. But I like that because I feel like you're not seeing. I feel like you get more of me through my artwork. I'm real reserved. I don't share a lot of myself unless I'm really comfortable and I know you. But I feel like if this page is going to be me, you're going to see just my artwork because that's me literally just being completely vulnerable and spilling myself. And because my art is those are my babies.
Yeah. So how do you go about when you creating your work, right? Are you trying to convey the same message, or are you being intentional about whatever the piece is, and it's just about kind of like what you're feeling in the moment? Like, what's your goal and intention when you creating?
It's really simple for me. I want to show us in the most beautiful forms. That's really it. Because it's so many beautiful aspects of us as people, as Black people. A lot of I focus on portraits, and that's really what I wanted to show. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing. It's not even. I guess it's not even really too deep about it, but because each one I do kind of think of like little stories, like okay, this facial expression or this, but I just start drawing, and I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know who it's going to look like because I don't use a reference. So it just that's why a lot of, like somebody had made a comment that a lot of them look the same, and I'm like, yeah, because I'm just drawing. I don't know how they're going to end up, and I just want just to see themselves in it. So anytime someone says, "Oh, this looks like this person," or "This looks like this," or "This looks like me," and I'm like, that's what I do it for. I want you to see yourself because I didn't see a lot of Black artists growing up. We didn't even learn about them in school. Once I got to college, we learned about Basquiat. But a lot of that, we didn't see, especially black women. We didn't learn about that. So I'm like, okay, well, now it's a black woman that's about to show you. Yeah. And you about to see however I can inspire anybody or uplift anybody else or any other artist. That's my goal all the time.
So was there any black women that you ultimately became educated around that you began to be inspired by her work?
Oh, yeah, it's a lot. Faith Ringgold, Edmonia Lewis. There's so many, and I had to dig deep because, especially there was a time where black women artists were not pushed to the forefront. It was an all man thing. Mm-hmm. That's it. Mm-hmm. But there's so many just amazing black artists that it's hard for me to when I see their work, I know exactly what it is. But just to think of, there's a lot of us. Yeah. There are a lot of us. Sadly, like a lot of them are no longer living. Mm-hmm. Like Edmonia Lewis, yeah, she's no longer living. Faith Ringgold, I believe, is still alive. But don't get me lying to y'all. But there are so many. I can't remember her name, but she did the portrait for Michelle Obama.
Oh yes, the young girl from here. You talking about? Is she from here?
No, I think she's from like DC. I think she's from DC. What is her? Her name is. Well, I say her name because her and Kehinde Wiley were chosen to do. They're the first black artists to be chosen to do the president's portraits. Okay. And now she's like the first black artist or first living artist to be paid the highest amount for a painting. Wow. Just some months ago. So there are a lot of us. And we're just. A lot of us are just waiting to be seen or heard, and then same with her. She was explaining herself how nobody really knew her name until she did that. She was chosen to do that portrait. Yeah. So a lot of us are we're here. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure. What's up, everybody? It's your boy John Morgan. Listen, man, right now, as y'all can see, man, I got on the new Live Your Purpose podcast merch, man. It's going crazy right now. The t-shirts, I got the dad hats. People always hit me up. John, man, where can I get it? How can I grab your stuff? You got a website, you got a site. How can I grab it? I'm here to tell you, yes, we do have a site. All right, that site is www.lypp.org. O-R-G. Again, it's www.lypp.org. Go to that website right now, man. You can find you can find a link to the YouTube channel. You can find a link to the audio platform, but you also can find where you can shop and grab your merch right now. Again, man, check us out. We got the tees going crazy right now. The dad hats. Expect to see some new products on that site. Go right now, www.lypp.org. Again, man. A lot of y'all been hitting me up asking me about this link and this site. It's available. So do yourself a favor. Go through, support, shop with your boy, spend some money with your boy. I know some of y'all still got that PPE money. Come spend some with your boy, man. Peace. I love what you said. Listen, it's not that deep. I like showing black people in a beautiful light. And I love that. You know what I'm saying? Because I think sometimes, man, we try to overcomplicate meaningful stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, again, man, for me in this podcast, I like having, good conversations about people's stories that I know that can help touch people. Period. Mm-hmm. Simple as that. Right. And I really want to be intentional about talking to black people. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not shying away from that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not shying away that my mission is to help black people first. Mm-hmm. Period. Right. And if other people are, they take something from it in the process, cool. Mm-hmm. But let me make no mistake by this. I want to help us. Period. Right. You know what I'm saying? And that is what it is. Mm-hmm. So I love that. I want to show black people in beautiful way. I love that. Mm-hmm. That's very, very, very powerful. Man, and doing my research on you, mm-hmm. and going through your social media page, I seen like a bunch of quotes that you used to post. This is stuff that you posted years and years ago, right?
I want to read some of them, and I want you to tell me, what comes to mind when you hear them.
Okay.
And I want you to tell me if you still feel those ways today.
Okay.
Because a lot of them was from like 2014, 2013. So I'm gonna read some.
That's all I used to post before I would post artwork for real.
I want you to tell me, what comes to mind and what you think about when I read them.
Okay.
So the first one is, God's no is not a rejection, it's a redirection.
Oh yeah, definitely still feel that way.
What's that mean?
Because I feel like within life or on a lot of our journeys, we get a lot of no's. We get a lot of no's, and of course we feel it in the moment. Like you feel, because rejection sucks sometimes. It sucks sometimes, but not. I feel like a lot of times we don't realize that it is a redirection. That no that we didn't get is making room for that yes that we're about to get, or that no was actually protecting us from something that we couldn't see. So I still definitely feel that way, for sure.
The next one is, living well is the best revenge.
Oh yeah, it is. It is. Because I've never been the type to hold a grudge or anything. Just going through certain heartaches or pains or anything, it's like, that's why get revenge, because that's only going to hurt me more.
Yeah.
It's only going to prolong the healing process or for me getting over this. So yeah, let me just live well and mind my business. Wish you the best from afar.
I like that. I respect that. This is the one I really, really like. It is, you cannot find peace avoiding life.
Oh man, that's what year was that?
Oh no, that was wow. One of the ones I found. I'm telling you, all of these was like 2013, 2014. These was deep. These was just going like, oh, she was talking that shit back then, for real. But what's that? What's that mean to you?
Read it one more time.
You cannot find peace avoiding life.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that goes back to what we were talking about, releasing. It's easy to avoid something or to feel like you're getting over something if you're not dealing with it at all, if you're just blocking it out or if you're just ignoring it. But it's like, nah, you actually have to feel it, take it in, address those feelings, and try to move accordingly so that you can literally find peace.
Yeah, that's very good. I like that. I got two more.
Okay.
This one is, sometimes the bad things that happen in our lives put us directly on the path to the best things that will ever happen to us. I told you was talking. I'm like, oh yeah, she got some stuff over here.
Man, I forget I gotta go back and repost some of those.
You had some stuff on here.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's that one right there. That's definitely that one. I definitely still fully feel that way.
Okay.
Still fully feel that way. I feel like, we go through a lot of things, in just life in general, and just things that happen, some that we don't understand in the moment. Yeah. But we end up exactly where we want to be. I didn't know in 2014, graduating college with an industrial design degree, turning down a job to design watches, that I would end up where I am now. And it was some detours. It was some detours, and financially, and trying to figure things out, and but to end up in the best space, mentally, physically, financially, that I've ever been, I would have never saw that, just based on the past and how things went. And just, it's like I said, 2020 was definitely a jump start in certain things, and getting out of a almost 10-year relationship, and just being able to continue to strive, and also being able to continue to believe in love, and that's still major
10 years
for me.
is a long time.
10 years is a long time.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Well, good for you. I got one more. This one is very good too. Respect your uniqueness and drop comparison. Relax into your being.
Dang, I was really.
Yeah, you was. I'm telling you, man. You had some shit. I'm like, oh no, we got to talk about these.
Now I got to go back and
right.
kind of
Right.
That is definitely a good one. I feel like I've always been different. I've always been different, and I've had moments where I question or didn't really feel how different I was. So being able to get to a point where I've embraced that. Like, okay, yeah, you're different, you're unique. You're not like a lot of people, and that's good. That's okay. And I'm me. And being able to find my tribe was the biggest thing of like-minded individuals and people that accept me for me. And that's been dope.
That's good, man. That's good. I want to go back a little bit. You talked about some of your detours. You talked about turning down, a job where you would have been designing watches. You said, before we start doing this, you said that, you moved away, to go to school. What was the process of moving away from home, going to school? Here you are on this path of that you could see the trajectory of where this is going to lead you. I'm assuming, and then all of a sudden it doesn't happen that way. It doesn't unfold that way.
Yeah.
What was that process like? And just kind of being away and things just unfolding, and it's just like, okay, Derin, we doing something else.
Yeah, it was scary. It was definitely scary at first. I moved to Savannah, Georgia. I knew nobody. I'm here, but I knew that's where I knew I had to go to an art school. I would not have continued school if I didn't go to art school. I know that I can say that for a fact. I would not have been able to fully thrive if I did not go to an art school. So I knew that's something that I had to do, but also knowing dang, okay, I'm going down this path of I'm not really interested in this. And I was fully in and fully dedicated, like I said, family and people okay, go where the money's going to be. You're not going to make no money in fine arts. You're not going to, and it's just I had regrets come senior year. I really should have did exactly what I wanted to do. So now that's when I get a lot of people that ask me about art school or they ask me questions. I'm like, do exactly what you want to do. Do exactly what, because I feel good being able to be that person for somebody else that I needed. Yeah. That could tell me it is okay. Yeah. It is okay. And so I do know that fear set in because once I got to my senior year, I actually I had my first solo art show in Cleveland, and I completely forgot about my schoolwork and just was painting. Right. My grades declined. I was a 4.0 college student before that. Summa cum laude, all of that. I was, but then senior year, that last semester, I got into art. I got into fine arts. I was painting every day. I'm skipping class a couple times because I'm staying up late painting, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. Because you were just so deep in it? Yeah. Once I couldn't get out, I knew this is what I was supposed to do. And it's okay, now I got to go to the wood shop and design this chair real quick. I got to go and build this or do this. And it's this is not what I want to do. This is not what I want to do. So getting the job offer from Michael Kors, I'm okay, Kors family, you better take it. You better take, what? That's a job. Da-da-da. You can move to Texas. You can do. So when I turned it down, I didn't hear the last of that. So I still get little comments you don't even use your degree. And it's yeah, but I'm doing way more. What I'm doing now is beyond what I would do with that degree. Derin, you talking. You talking right now, man. You talking, man. You talking. Listen, what you're saying is so powerful. Because how many people are out there, and again, I went to school on and off for 10, 12 years. I remember being in those classes, and I was one of them. Man, I'm just here to get through. Yeah. And remember looking at people and just see it man, they don't want to be in here, Right. But for whatever reason, I know for myself, a lot of it was fear. Oh yeah. A lot of it was just being trapped in my own fear and just trapped in my own, I guess, insecurities of not really trying something different. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So to hear you saying that, man, I said,
I said, fuck that. I dropped everything. I did it. I dove into my art.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure the people who were closest to you didn't understand it, and they probably still don't understand it.
No. And that used to bother me, but then I got to the point like either you on board or you not. Because this train is moving regardless, you know, with support, without. Of course it feels good to have that support and being able to be like, okay, yeah, this is what I'm doing. You know, being able to talk about that and not be judged. Like, are you sure? Or, I mean, you're not gonna get a job, or, you know. So it's like, okay, you know, that was tough, but it's like I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And now, like when people talk about there's a lot of people that won't see your vision. They won't see it. And I had to realize too, there's a lot of people that did not see my vision. They're seeing it now, but when I was working towards this, a lot of people didn't see it. Yeah. I would say it. I would make it clear this is what I'm doing. But when I'm working towards it, you can't see it because you're not me. Right. We don't have the same vision. Right. So now it's like, okay, now I have this gallery and this is what I'm.
Now they believe you now.
Oh, they believe me now. But I'm like, I was trying to tell y'all. I told y'all. And then being able to have this space and still even get, you know, little comments like, well, are you sure you want to make your space free for creatives? Are you sure? And I'm like, yeah. If an artist wants to put on a show here, I'm not charging them. Why? Because I knew the struggle for myself of wanting to have how much I had to pay to have my first solo art show as a college student that barely had the money, having other people help me just to be able to pay for the space. Yeah. I don't want nobody else to have to go through that.
Where'd that confidence come from to like really be able to lean into what you know to be true, you know, despite not really having the support, you know, from the people who we want it from?
It came from me falling multiple times and being able to pick myself back up. It's like you falling.
Trial and error.
Yeah, literally trial, and a lot of it has been trial and error. And that's always my biggest thing. If I can help somebody else from not falling the way I did, even though I didn't have nobody to help me, right, I'm still gonna be that person. Right. Because but it helped me get to the person that I am today. Because I'm like, first of all, you've been down. You fell before. Like, where you at now? Like, just thinking of my past self. The Derin that was posting all them quotes, I don't even know if she fully believed the things she was posting then. But now, oh yeah. Yeah. So I need to repost them.
Hey, well, you know what that is now. You go back and find
I'm like,
them.
wait, that was on my page?
Yeah,
okay.
I got them off. I'm telling you, go to the year 2013 or 14,
wow.
You had some heat.
Wow.
Yeah, you had some heat. But so you ultimately start doing, you know, you start like getting noticed for your work. You start doing murals in Cleveland. Like you did something for the RTA, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes.
Up in Cleveland. How did all of that stuff even come about? Like what is the process for artists to go from creating to you know, begin to monetizing their work and, you know, being recognized for their work? And that's on a pretty damn large scale as well.
For me, I believe it was consistency. And then a lot of connections that I made in Cleveland. So once I did start creating and doing certain things in my old job, I was teaching arts to kids at a community center, at a daycare. And we're creating things, and I'm showing what I do, and them knowing, okay, you're an artist. So then I made a lot of connections from there, who then made connections to other people. Or I know this artist. So a lot of it, honestly, before posting on social media, was word of mouth. Literally word of mouth. Like, okay, I know this artist, and introducing me to people like, okay, well, we have this opportunity. It's like, okay. And
you was just taking them.
Just taking them, yeah. And but recently, a lot of them were just from social media. Yeah. Like I'm working with Metro now in Akron.
Wow.
And that was from social media. Literally social media. Just people reaching out then. So I'm like, okay. And I'm glad that I got over that fear of being able to post to social media.
Yeah.
And even like I said, a lot of people are still like, well, I don't know what you look like. It's like, okay, good.
Right.
Need my artwork first.
Right. Yeah. Man, so when you were working at that daycare, and you yet still aren't even a full-time artist, you still not even doing your art full-time.
No, and it was still even hard to do, like, to be an art teacher with kids, like little kids. You know, it was that was interesting. That was interesting within itself, but it was fun. They taught me a whole lot, especially about never letting go of my inner child.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That has been
100%.
That has been the biggest thing as far as my creativity.
Yep.
But it was tough because a lot of that stuff I questioned because it wasn't what I wanted to do. So I was still working, and I was in school. I was in grad school doing that.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, you know, this is what I'm trying to do, but still trying to, in any way I can, be creative and continue to at least teach these kids art. So I taught them about every black artist that I was learning about. And but it was definitely wasn't what I wanted to do. It was a part of that detour that I took.
Man, I tell people all the time, you know, I was talking to my niece a couple weeks ago, and she was asking me just about some stuff that she can kind of like lean into on the entrepreneurship side. And I told her exactly what you just said, man. Think about stuff that you used to love when you were a child. You know what I'm saying? Go to that place of your inner childhood, stuff that you really wanted to pursue before you got the, you know, before you got the judgments of the world, before you got these outside influences. You know what I'm saying? So that's
because that's the stuff that's embedded in you.
Yes,
it's embedded in you.
That's the stuff that you get from the Creator, man.
Yeah,
that's the stuff that you are sent here to do.
Yeah, no, seriously. And I had to read this book while in grad school. It was called Walking on Water. I can't remember the first name, but I know the last name is LaEngle. And even though it was titled Walking on Water, the whole book was about spirituality and keeping your creativity, keeping your inner child and your creativity. And I remember it was one chapter that I was reading where she talked about how when you're younger and you draw an elephant and it looks nothing like an elephant, but you're in your mind, you're like, this is an elephant,
bruh.
Can't nobody tell me it's not an elephant.
Yeah.
Then you get older.
Yeah.
And you try to draw an elephant.
Yeah.
And then you judging it like, well, this don't look like an elephant. You start judging yourself. But if you still kept that inner child in you, can't nobody tell you that it's not an elephant. If you in your mind draw an elephant, there's nobody outside of you that can tell you that that's not an elephant.
That's it.
And I always keep that with me because can't nobody tell me that what I'm doing isn't right. What I'm doing for me is not right when I'm living in my purpose.
That's powerful. That's powerful, man. You talking still, telling you. I know people gonna get a lot of value from this, man. You talking a lot. Let me ask you this. What are your thoughts on, do you think that everybody is a creator?
I do.
Why?
I feel like every person, I don't know if it's the artist in me, but I feel like every person can tap into some form of creativity. But it can be in the form of writing, dancing, singing, talking, listening. It's so many forms of creativity that I feel like a lot of people can tap into. Even with being an artist, I'm one of the people that feel like anybody can be an artist. I don't care when you start. And even when I do like paint and sips or I do classes or anything, and I always just start off like, don't look at my work. Don't compare yourself to my work, because that's what you do is what you create is you. Yeah. Can't nobody tell you that's not artwork. Can't nobody tell you that's not an elephant.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that since we are extensions of the Creator, I think then we automatically, possess skills and gifts within inside of us that allow us to do things that come from places that we can't even always understand.
Exactly.
And, describe.
Things you have to tap into. Things that you have to tap into. And I always just think about, like, when I was teaching, and I'm in the hood. I'm in the middle of the hood
Mm-hmm.
teaching, and how many kids were not even exposed to the arts.
Yep.
Or did not even realize, I had parents be like, well, I didn't know that they can draw, because you're not feeding this part of them. They're not able, and the schools are taking the arts out. The arts aren't in the schools. So I can't imagine, if I didn't go to Firestone, I don't know exactly where I would be, because I had teachers that were feeding the artist in me,
Right.
that were bringing that out of me.
Yeah.
And like my grandmother, continuously feeding that, so I didn't even have to rely on school to do that. But just, I feel like a lot of people aren't able to, or given the opportunity to tap into that, because they're not surrounded by it, or nobody's supporting or being able to feed that within them.
Man, you know what? I also think that for men, I think that through socialization, through racism, through oppression, our creativity has been snatched away at
For
such
sure.
early ages
Yes.
that we even associate creativity with some level of like passivity and like, being vulnerable.
Too vulnerable, yep.
And we can't even we've been socialized to not even be able to grasp it. You know what I'm saying? So I know for myself, again, finding and embracing my creative side, because I know for me, I always associated creativity, art with like the arts, theater, drawing, music. I'm learning to understand that creativity in art there is no label for that.
It's not. It goes beyond. But that's why you even have there's so many forms of art now. People are sound design, and I mean and I had to learn that too when I went to school. There are people who were in this art school with me who were just creating sounds.
Yeah.
And one of my friends who works at Adult Swim, literally just creating sounds. And so it's so many, in media and it's so. The arts covers so many forms of everything. And then you really think about, because I remember in every single one of my classes when we would start, they will always say, the world will be nothing without art.
That's it. That's 100%. Now you end up doing some stuff with Adult Swim and stuff too, right?
Oh yeah, I did.
You forgot?
I kind of did. That was 2020. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I was transitioning and releasing at that time.
Okay.
So I almost forgot that, but yes, I did.
So how does it feel, to, and not necessarily from a status standpoint and from an accomplishment standpoint, but just knowing that you are being rewarded for your work, you know what I'm saying, and staying consistent. How does it feel to, do the stuff with Metro, do the stuff with RTA, do the stuff with Adult Swim? Like, how does that feel for you today?
It still feels unreal. Just going back to just moments of feeling stuck, or feeling or questioning my purpose, or just I would feel bad for ever questioning the path that I was on to being an artist. And so being able to experience these things, I'm growing up, these are things that I see. So thinking that I would have never thought that I would work with them. And I just started a partnership with Michael's, and this is a store I used to shop at when I'm younger. So working with them, it's like, is this real? So sometimes it doesn't feel real, and I just feel blessed. And that's why with me, it's like I'm being blessed for a reason, and I know a big part of that reason is for me to bless others. So I'm like, I have to stay on that. And
that takes us to me to what you got doing, like what you got going on here, in your studio, in your gallery. Like, again, man, that's where I met you here in the studio. But I really took a liking to what you had going on when I found out that you was really serving people in here. Like, you know what I'm saying? This ain't just no studio where you have your art pieces up for people to purchase and they come and go about their business. You are being very intentional with how you are pouring into other creatives here in your space.
Yeah.
Number one, why is that? And number two, can you just touch on a little bit about what you're doing here in the space?
So basically, what I touched on earlier, as far as being in that position of not feeling supported as an artist or a new artist. Because I know most galleries, you have to have, and I just learned this from my own research, most galleries, you have to have at least 10, 15 years experience. And experience for them is you've had multiple solo shows or you've done certain things in a certain light before they will recognize you as a professional artist.
The analytics.
Literally. And that I knew how hard that was for me to get into galleries when I was trying to have my solo shows. And it's like, okay, well, fill out this paper and let me know, have you had a solo show? And it's like, it's kind of similar to where you're going for an entry-level job. And they're like, well, you have to have 5 years experience. And it's like, okay, well, I'm trying to get the experience.
Right.
Or I'm trying to move forward with this. So who are you to tell me that I'm not a professional artist because I've never had a solo show when you guys are making it hard for me to have a solo show? And like I said, just seeing how people are charging for spaces to show artwork, and then not only charging for me to rent the space to show my artwork, you're charging me a commission price. If I sell some artwork, I got to give you a percentage. And I'm like, I never understood that. I never understood that. And I knew that I wanted a space that provided different. I wanted it to be an easy experience for an artist to be able to feel really supported and to know that, okay, here's this space to where I've spent my time creating this stuff. I can show people. I can showcase my work for free. Yeah.
So talk about it. You doing so on Wednesdays? You offer your pop-ups for for vendors. You do your painting sips. Seems like you're doing them like every other week for real. Yeah,
well, so since the opening, I've actually done them every week. Okay. Last week, like I said, I've been going nonstop. Last week, I took a break, and I actually rented it out to someone who had a rehearsal dinner for a wedding. Okay. Last Thursday. Okay. So it helped me with actually take a break, and I was able to take some time. But yeah, so really just trying to, and I have so many ideas of creatively what I want to do. Realizing like, okay, but you can't do so much. You can't do everything. And it's only so much time in the day. But definitely the pop-up shops, that was something that I wanted to do just because I have this space. I want people to have a place where they can have their work and people can come and we tell people, and I'm able to use my platform to promote these people and like, hey, come out, support, however you feel, repost or, just show up, show love, come see things. And then, doing the painting sips, that's always fun. I personally do not like instructing, so all my canvases are pre-drawn. Right. But, and then the space is always available to be rented for different events. But I also, because I have this space and upstairs, when I say I want it to be free for creatives, any photographers that want to use the space if it's available, to take pictures or however, because I know how that is to not have that space to, because that a lot of times is a big factor, being able to, okay, I want to have this space or be able to showcase or perform or do whatever, or a podcast, things like that. So I just want people to know that this space is here and it's available. And we don't have much downtown yet. It's coming back, but it's slowly but surely. It is. It's coming back, and I'm glad that I'm here with that transition coming back.
Here early. That's big, man.
Yeah, here big. Early, and I'm the only black-owned gallery down here, so
good for you.
I'm like,
good for you.
I'm excited about that. Yeah. I'm excited about that, and I want people to see this space. I want people to know, and a lot of times it's not even I'm trying to make myself the face of it. I want young black, not even young, but just black creatives from Akron, Ohio, even Cleveland, to be the face of this place. Yep. Because I got it for everyone else. Like, my artwork is still up, and well, that's only for now because there's about to be another showcase here. But I'm more concerned and more excited to showcase so many other local artists than I am of my own. I have so much artwork that I could hang up, but I'm like, no. I've been reaching out to people like, you want to have a solo show, and let me know. And I'm just excited to showcase other people.
Yeah, that's fire. Well, listen, I think that I know that what you're doing down here is game changing. You know,
Thank you.
Again, when I seen the first flyer, I had never met you. I didn't know you, but when I seen what was going on, I knew you were a black woman. I told my wife, I said, "Man, we going down there." You know what I'm saying? To support. I knew that this was big and this was monumental. So I'm genuinely happy for you.
Thank you.
I'm happy that you are here. You are doing great work, great service, and people can learn a lot, you know, from you. You know, and I think that it's very important to like remember in the process of finding ourselves, we just got to look within ourselves and go and go within. And I believe that you are a testament to that. You know what I'm saying? So
thank you. I try to be.
You are. You living it. You living it. And you only use 2 cuss words in the, you know what I'm saying, out the dictionary. So you good.
Wait till I turn 30. I might add a couple more.
Okay,
Get my grown woman on.
Well, listen, again, man, thank you so much for this.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.
Thank you.
This has been wonderful. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate you allowing us to come in and, you know, utilize the space.
Anytime.
This has been terrific. I got a few like rapid questions that I want to hit on before we go, and you know we're gonna wrap up and get you on out of here. Okay.
Gotcha.
All right. So, first question. We have less than 100 days left in 2021, which is
really?
wild. Yes, like I think it's like 97 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's literally less than 100.
I got work to do.
Yeah, couple months left to do in the year. What are your intentions for ending out 2021? What are your intentions?
My intentions. That's a good one. I think my intentions for ending out 21 is to be intentional with everything that I do. Creatively, spiritually, mentally, physically, just being intentional about everything, every connection I make, every move I make, being strategic and just really sticking to that purpose, because it's easy to get thrown off. It's easy to and I get cabin fever like crazy, and you know the seasonal depression sometimes hit in and be all gray, and
that's real.
you know I'm a big sunshine person.
Me too.
And I use a lot of natural light to create. So when it's all gray outside and all, you know, because Ohio, once it starts, we got a good 6 months of gray, and so just being intentional about that, about my mental health, about everything, and staying on that. I think that's what I'm definitely trying to focus on, and staying organized, because I be struggling sometimes.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe this will be your answer for that one. Then what's an area of improvement or a weakness? Is something that you really want to try to like improve upon?
Organization is one, and being okay with sitting still. That has been my biggest thing, because sometimes I would feel bad if I'm not working. I'm thinking about 1,000 different sketches, drawings in my head, and sometimes I'll take a break and I'll feel bad about that. So I need to work on knowing that it is okay to slow down. It is okay to take a moment to breathe, because some overworking myself, I know how that makes me feel. So
what's the hardest part about being a creative for you?
The hardest part I think is the way I criticize myself. I think that's the toughest part, because I done destroyed many canvases or you know, things that could have been some $1 million paintings. I don't know. But I think that's the hardest part, the way I criticize myself sometimes. So I got that to also what I need to work on.
Okay. What's next? What's the goals going forward for you?
Just continuing to build this space up. Continue to build this space up and fill it with as many Black faces as I can. As many entrepreneurs, as many creatives, just just continuing to do that. And I have so many things that I want to do. Yeah. So many things that I want to do creatively. I'm working on a jewelry line.
Okay.
I'm trying to do a lot of things at once, but
that's all right though. That's okay.
I'm working on a lot of things at once, but what's next is literally just continuing to move forward in this purpose and build this space up, because I really I think it could be even bigger for a lot of people in Akron.
Yeah. What is your purpose?
My purpose. I think my purpose is to teach. Even if it's I feel like I will say this. My purpose is to create with a didactic approach. Is to continue to be an artist. But the way I create is always through a didactic approach, so that I'm also teaching, not just other people, but teaching myself. Because I'm constantly learning. I'm always a student.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. What's something about you that people be surprised to know?
That people be surprised to know? Well, for one, if they don't know me and they're on my social media, they're always surprised that I'm a woman. Really. And people will be surprised to know that my middle name is Tyler.
They would really think you would do Derin Tyler Fletcher.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else.
That's a good one.
I think that's
That's it?
Yeah, and that's just in the spirit of you making this a comfortable conversation.
You wouldn't have told nobody else that?
I would not have told anyone else that. So you just got an exclusive.
All right, I take it. We gonna move on then. I ain't even gonna try to squeeze nothing else out of you then. We'll take that one. What scares you?
Ooh, what scares me? Like just overall fears? Fire. I'm
not laughing at fire being a fear. I'm laughing at the way you said it.
Yeah, I'm like, fire and not necessarily fire, like just if I see some fire, I'm just like, oh my gosh, but I have a really big fear of dying in a fire. Or like a house fire or something. I don't know. And I've
got traumatic experiences connected to house fires? You just
it just scares me.
Okay, say less. Say less. What's your favorite quote?
My favorite quote.
I got 5 of them up here if you need.
Shoot. I mean, it could be one of those, but I don't know. I can't think of just one.
Okay.
That's one. Yeah.
That's cool.
That's I can't think of just one quote, honestly. Okay. Well, I do love the quote by James Baldwin, that artists are here to disturb the peace.
No doubt. Yeah. No doubt. James Baldwin was cold.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one. What is the best advice you ever received?
These days is take one thing at a time.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's been the best one for me. I always just take it one day at a time. Focus on one thing at a time. That's what I've been trying to do. Because like I said, I try to do, if it's up to me, I try to do a million things at once. Yeah. And I'm also an overthinker. I'm a big overthinker. Okay. So I can get in my head a lot. And I can get lost in there. So
yeah, that's creators.
Yes, and because my mind, it never shuts off. I'm always thinking about something I want to do, a class I want to teach, or
you gotta get into meditation and and connecting to your breath.
That's what I'm connecting with your wife on. Yeah, so I'm I need to get, and I used to do it a lot, and I used to do yoga like 2 times a week, and I have not had the time. Not even that I had the time. I haven't had the time. I haven't made the time. And that goes back to me, my organization, and trying to get back to that.
It's a process, though.
Yeah.
It's a process.
So I definitely have to get back to meditation because I journal a lot, and that helps me.
Okay, good.
And getting back into that, because since I have been busy with the space, I haven't journaled as much as I normally get up in the morning. I'm journaling right then and there. So now I'm just now getting back into that, and I know how it makes me feel.
Good. Last one. If you can call your 20-year-old self, knowing what you know today, what would you tell yourself?
Ooh.
What would you tell young Derrin?
I would have an earful for her. My goodness.
What would you tell young Derrin?
Let's see. I would tell her that it gets better. It gets better.
Okay.
That's the I was trying to think of the positive thing I would say. Not go in like leave that nigga.
Right.
I'm trying to, the positive thing that I would say is that it gets better.
Good, wonderful. Well, Derrin, thank you so much. This has been terrific.
Me.
One of the last things that we do here on the podcast is we have our guests lobby for a guest to come on. We were able to. Early on in the podcast, we were able to lobby for an ex-NFL player. His name was Derin Fletcher. We were able to get him on the show. He is one of the inspirations behind doing the podcast and just like transitioning from an athlete into just doing something, in the media space. The next guest that we're trying to get is Charlamagne the Guy himself. A lot of people know Charlamagne as being a radio personality on the Breakfast Club. Yeah. But for those who do know, he is a big deal in the podcast space. But also, like just me personally, I have an appreciation for Charlamagne's public display of just him willing to be able to grow. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people have their own gripes with him, which I can understand. But when you in the public eye for 10, 15 years, you're going to have a hell of a lot of mishaps. You know what I'm saying? But what I can feel and tell from afar is that this dude is really doing the work.
We're human.
And he's human, man. You know what I'm saying? And, I respect that. So, we want to try to get him down and, have a conversation with him. So if you could, please, and something tell me you got connected with God too. So I believe that once you do it, it's gonna help.
I received that.
Yeah. Please do.
All right, which camera you want me to?
This camera right here. Look in this camera and tell Mr. Charlamagne the Guy why he should be a guest on the Live Your Purpose podcast, please.
Okay, Charlamagne, you don't want to miss being on this podcast. For one, I don't even like talking to people like that. I be in the background, but this podcast makes you comfortable and you just gonna feel safe. You gonna feel like you're at home. You're at home. The conversation is good. And I feel like you're going to like having your brain picked because we know Charlamagne's very controversial at times. Yes. But I feel like that Charlamagne, that you would enjoy having your brain picked at in a certain way, in a certain dialogue that will come from being on Live Your Purpose podcast.
Yep, that's right.
Yes. So don't miss out. You want to be here.
My man, listen to the black woman. I don't care what you say. When all else ends well, listen to black women. Please believe.
Because you're gonna receive this. You gonna get this.
Yes, for sure. We gonna put it from your mouth to God's ears. We
gonna speak it.
We gonna make it happen. Well, listen. Thank you so much, Derrin. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming on. This has been wonderful. I know a lot of people are going to get tremendous value from this. Again, man, go to the YouTube channel, Live Your Purpose Podcast. Subscribe, like, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. Another episode in the books, LYP. Peace.